All right, everybody, welcome back to another review. My name is Anthony Salic. Here we are covering LOKI Season 2, Episode 3. Before we get started, guys, I just want to let you guys know that I'm currently sick right now. My voice has been going in and out the past few days, so I'm going to try to keep this episode less than 10 minutes because I really don't want to put a strain on my voice. Also, I'm currently recording this at exactly 10 p.m. at night, like literally an hour after the episode just dropped, and I want to get it done before 11 or 11:30 because the brand new Spider-Man game is about to drop in literally about 2 hours. So I want to stay up and play the game. So, but normally what I would do is I would watch the episode on Thursday night and I would record my review on Friday morning and get it out by that morning. But for this video, I decided to watch it as soon as it dropped and record it like after I finished watching it. So, LOKI, Episode 3, title 1893. A very interesting episode. So, right off the bat, this episode is really different compared to the first two. Whereas Episode 1 and 2 were really about the sort of problem that we were dealing with the aftermath of He Who Remains Death, and with the aftermath of the multiverse essentially exploding across the timeline. Episode 1 and 2 have been very confusing for a lot of people, especially on social media. I see it everywhere. A lot of people have been complaining and been getting upset that the characters that we've been seeing have been going through a very tricky and difficult mission that sometimes people can't really catch up with. So this episode completely goes a completely new direction. We are introduced, the main part about this episode, unlike episode 1 and 2, this episode deals with a lot of character developments with a couple of characters that we are familiar with and some new faces as well. Well, new faces. Well, actually, it's more like new person, same face, because we are introduced to Jonathan Majors' Victor Timely, which is a variant of the Kang the Conqueror. And it was really, really awesome to see this. Now, before I talk about Jonathan Majors and all of that, there's also a lot of character developments for like Ravonna Renslayer, who returns this episode. Miss Minutes also gets another additional story to her. We get a lot from Sylvie. Obviously, Loki and Mobius are doing their thing. But we get introduced to a Kang variant known as Victor Timely, who is essentially the first or the oldest Kang variant. Might be the oldest Kang variant that we've seen so far, in which it takes place in the year 1893. And Victor Timely is he's a very awesome character. Now, I know that there are some legal issues that have been happening with Jonathan Majors. I am in the side that Jonathan Majors is innocent. I believe that his case is an example of racism in our judicial system. And I believe that he is an innocent man. Obviously, the trial hasn't been settled or dismissed, so we still don't know. But I am hoping that he is going to be able to stay as the Kang variant, because he was incredible in this episode. Like I said earlier, we get introduced to a character named Victor Timely, who you would think is a genius inventor that we see, who is actually a con artist just trying to make a quick buck. And essentially what we learn is that Ravonna and Miss Minutes gave Victor Timely, as a kid, a TVA handbook that he would later use in order to create prototypes for his inventions. Obviously, the technology that he had during the 1890s was nothing compared to the 21st century, but it allowed him to create these prototypes that would give him some quick cash. So instead of being this brilliant technological genius like we saw with like Ant-Man, Quantumania, he's a person that's just trying to get by with the technology that he has in his time. And basically we get a whole kind of subplot between Victor Timely, Ravonna Renslayer, and Miss Minutes, and sort of the feud that they have within each other. The biggest thing being that both Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Minutes want Victor Timely, but they don't want to share him. Essentially, Miss Minutes wants him for one reason, whereas Ravonna Renslayer wants him for another, and it conflicts with each other. So they're kind of going at each other neck and neck, and we see a lot of betrayals, a lot of fights throughout this episode. I will say, the sets in this episode, oh my goodness, it is so beautiful. Obviously, we weren't alive during the 1890s, but my goodness, those sets were beautiful. The part where Victor Timely is giving his presentation about the electric loom machine, or when they're on the Ferris wheel, or even when they're on the boat. I mean, the sets are beautiful. It is truly one of the best MCU sets. Like, it's up there with like the Guardian sets, or like the I'm trying to think. Guardians has pretty good sets, and I would probably say Thor Ragnarok had a lot of good sets as well. I mean, it's definitely up there with some of the best. And as this episode is playing out with sort of the feud between Timely, Renslayer, and Miss Minutes, you also have Loki and Mobius, who are also trying to find Victor Timely because they need a variant of He Who Remains in order to stabilize the multiverse, or the sacred timeline. So we end up going to the end of the episode, and we end up finding out that Sylvie also joins the fight around midway through the episode, in which she's trying to kill all of the variants. Essentially, she doesn't want any version of He Who Remains, regardless if they're good or bad, to live, because she believes that they will all end up like He Who Remains, as somebody who doesn't allow free will, and somebody who will bring chaos and war. So her whole deal during this episode is wanting to kill Victor Timely in order to prevent war from happening, or a multiversal war. Now, obviously, Victor Timely is a very unique variant of Kang, because he doesn't have the technology, he doesn't have the knowledge, he doesn't have any awareness of anything beyond his time. He's not aware of the TVA, he's not aware of his variants, he's not aware of the multiverse, he's not aware of any of that. He's just a regular man just trying to get by. And that's one of the things that I really liked about this episode, is that they used that with Sylvie, with Loki, with Ravonna, is that they try to play this Victor Timely as just a regular human, because that's what he is. He's somebody who's just trying to get by. And I think that this really opens up a new point of view of the Kang variants, because every Kang variant that we have met, from He Who Remains, who is all-knowing, from Kang the Conqueror, who is all-threatening, from the councils of Kangs that we saw at the post-credit scene of Quantumania, where they are just all intimidating, Victor Timely brings in this new angle of, what if we just have a variant that's just neutral or peaceful? And I really, really enjoyed it. Again, Jonathan Majors absolutely kills it. Every single variant of Kang that he plays, he always brings in a different performance, and I absolutely love it. I really, really hope that he doesn't get recast, and I really hope he's found innocent during his trial, because this guy needs to stay at least until Avengers Kang Dynasty, and then afterwards you can either end the Kang storyline or recast, but this guy just needs to stay. So to end the episode, we kind of get a funny moment where Victor Timely is kind of going back and forth between Ravonna and Miss Minutes. He originally kicks out Miss Ravonna Renslayer because she brought up the word partnership, and Victor Timely doesn't like partnership. So then he stays with Miss Minutes, but then Miss Minutes has this weird emotional moment where all she wants is to be in a real body in order to have a love relationship with the Kang variants. And obviously she's AI, so she doesn't have a real body. And her whole thing is like, she wants to be human. She wants to be able to love the He Who Remain variants. And I thought that was really sweet, but also really creepy at the same time. So we get to the end of the episode. We get to this big sort of standoff between Ravonna, Sylvie, and Loki and Mobius that ultimately results in Sylvie interfering. There's a really good moment that I gotta mention where Sylvie is about to kill He Who Remains, and as she's about to kill him, as she's about to kill Victor Timely, all these variants, man, they got me confused. But as she's about to kill Timely, Timely gives her this quick speech about how he isn't the man that she thinks he is. In other words, he isn't He Who Remains. He isn't the one that puts Sylvie through all the torture, through all the pain and suffering. He is just human. And he hasn't done anything wrong to her. Although Sylvie has a difficult time believing that because she believes that all Kang variants are meant to create pain. So we get this kind of interesting conflict between Sylvie and Victor Timely, which ultimately results in Sylvie letting Timely go. And Mobius and Loki end up taking Victor Timely to the TVA, where I assume that next episode he's going to be the key to fixing the sacred timelines and branches. And we end the episode with Sylvie sending both Ramona and Miss Minutes to the end of time where He Who Remains' dead body remains, which we saw at the end of season 1. And I am super excited to see where the story goes. Obviously, we have different plays going on. We have Victor Timely now at the TVA with Mobius and Loki. We have Sylvie kind of doing her own thing. We have Ramona and Miss Minutes now at the end of time with, hopefully they're going to, or it seems like they're going to try to find a way out. And yeah, I mean, we're already halfway through the episode, we're already halfway through the season. I really, really am enjoying this. This is probably my best or my favorite episode for the season because it's so much human. Like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy the multiverse stuff and the ways that we get to learn more about the timelines and stuff like that. But it's nice to just sit back and just get some regular character developments, especially when I think that these characters, like obviously Loki, the Kang variants, Ravonna Renslayers, like they're going to be big key players in the future of the MCU. So it's nice that we get an episode where we kind of get to learn a little bit more about them so that they have a little bit more character attachment to us when we're later on down the line with like a Kang Dynasty or Secret Wars, something like that. But that'll be it for the episode. My favorite episode so far, I'm going to give this a solid 9. I loved it. I love the performances. Ravonna, Miss Minutes, Victor Timely, Sylvie, they all give incredible performances. And I cannot wait to see what happens in episode 4. But until then, guys, my name has been Anthony Salic. If you guys are new here, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to get a copy of Spider-Man 2 because I'm also going to be playing that in like 2 hours. And I cannot wait to see where the future or the remaining 3 episodes of Loki are heading. I'll see you guys next week. Take care. Be safe. Love you guys. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.